All right, everybody, it's your Uncle Ed again. This time we're going to hit a totally different topic. I'm not going to talk about interest rates. I'm not going to talk about the economy. I'm not going to talk about your angry uncle. What we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about social media. And who better than this young lady, Kaylin Trelongo? She is a specialist in social media marketing. And we're going to talk a little bit about here we are in 2024, end of April. Is it still important? Is it still relevant? Does anybody care? Especially now that I guess the president wants TikTok to be sold. There's so much going on, right? As far as TikTok goes in China and all these things. So we're just gonna have an honest conversation here and take it from here. How you doing today, Kaylin? And thank you very much, by the way, for showing up.
Thank you for having me. Happy
How
to
you
be here.
doing?
I'm great. It's a beautiful day
Isn't
in
it?
sunny San Jose. That's where I'm at right now, so I can't complain.
Yeah, I'm at the other San Francisco. We're both Sands,
There we
but
go.
she's in the southern San. I'm in the northern San. One thing
There
I
we
noticed
go.
is you don't have a cup of coffee.
Me?
Yeah. Or do
I
you?
have a cup. I do.
All right,
It's
come on,
just,
show our people, because we're coffee people. Yep, this
yes,
is
it's
where
my
we
first
come.
cup of the day. So
Wow. Okay, I'm on my third
trying
day.
to trying to
Nobody
take it
knows.
slow.
Funny, because I'm the opposite. I'm trying to take it fast. So here we go.
There we go.
Very good. So here we are, 2024. And you heard about the whole TikTok thing and trying to force the sale and all these things. What's your opinion of where we're at right now with social media in this iteration? Because there's been a lot of talk that socially it's been very toxic, especially to children. Why should we even use it anymore? It's killed building community. Nobody knows their neighbor anymore because everybody's on their phone and everybody's posting happy. And everybody, of course, is living their best life. Nobody has problems. Nobody has a down day. Everything is just 100% peachy and all the time, right? So what are your thoughts?
Totally. Well, it's funny you say that. As a social media manager, it's very ironic. I don't actually spend a lot of time on social media. I use it very like I am very intentional with it because it is very detrimental if you are on your phone all the time, constantly scrolling, constantly looking at what other people are doing, comparing yourself. I'm a musician on the side, and I have to constantly be promoting my music online. And if I spend all my time looking at what other people are doing and comparing my career, with others, I'm gonna feel bad. This is what happens. Because you're right, everyone posts the good. It's very rare that you find creators who are posting the bad or just the normal day-to-day life of being a human being. But I do think that with this conversation happening, like it's just everyone's talking about it now. I think that there's definitely a lot more chatter about, why are we on social media? What is the point? And I think it really just comes down to like what your goals are and really what you're wanting to get out of it. There's some people who just use social media to have a community or to connect with people maybe they went to high school with, or to reach out to people they used to work with. And it's a great way to connect with people if you're not living in the same city, or if you're not able to travel all that much. So there's personal benefits for it for sure. Um, and then if you're a business and you're trying to grow your business and you're trying to get your name out there, it's a really positive, useful tool if used correctly. And that's why a lot of people hire social media managers like myself, because they don't have to be on their phones and constantly promoting your business. Because as a business owner or as somebody who is, constantly trying to grow their business, whether it's real estate, tech, you're a creator, you're an artist, you're a photographer, you don't want to be constantly having to market yourself all the time. So that's why you hire somebody like a social media manager to really take on that burden, because it's a lot. Um, so yeah, I mean, yes, there's definitely a lot of negatives with social media, and my biggest thing is like be as intentional as you can with it. Spend only the time that you need to be on your phone, and then go outside and touch some grass, because we forget about how wonderful and beautiful the world is. And of course, there's craziness happening in the world at all times. So when you're connected, you kind of forget about how beautiful and how lucky we are. And then the other side is like, yes, it is important. I think, especially if you're trying to build a business, build a community around a product or a service. There's definitely huge benefits with it as well.
That's a lot, and
Yeah,
I
sorry,
100% agree with you. No, I think it's great because there's a lot to unpack here. I mean this in a great way. Number one, I think the undertone of what we're talking about here is learn to control the narrative. The beauty is that yes, you, the one who's watching this, you get to control how much you watch and what you put out and how you react to other people's content. I'm a big believer that authenticity plays a huge role in all this. Show your authentic self, because the old saying is that you might as well be you because everybody else is taken. It's true. You need to be yourself in all of your posting. It's not really about so much even you, it's really about what's your contribution on this planet. That's what I really believe our life's about. I really don't really believe that it's about us. It's about us in other people's lives. It's the building of community. It's the helping out others. And I think social media, to your point, is a gigantic tool that has a tremendous amount of reach. Think about it. What you post has this biggest ripple effect ever. It's that pebble that goes from San Jose all the way to Africa. When you skip it on that pond is way out there, right? So I think being authentic is number one. Number two is limiting your time for sure. But number three, which is a part that people don't talk about, except for big shout out to my boy, Gary Vaynerchuk, who I consider to be the godfather of social media. He said it a long, long time ago. It's about your engagement into other people's postings as well. We forget a lot to actually engage in other people's posts, as opposed to always being about what we post and trying to kind of make it glossy. I think authenticity plays a huge role. What are your thoughts about authenticity? Is there also a limit to it, or what are your thoughts?
I think, yeah, first and foremost, I love that you brought up that point. I think bringing a human aspect into what you're trying to sell, like you'll just say sell online, like through social media, whether it's a brand, yourself, whatever it is, that's super important, because at the end of the day, we are constantly being fed ads, and we are constantly being fed like, oh, you should buy this, you should do this, you should, and ultimately people are tired of that. So social media is totally taking a turn where it's no longer about how are you selling a product on social, it's how are you giving people value, how are you adding value into their life. So say you're you're a plate company, right? You make amazing, beautiful plates that are custom made and they're gorgeous. And everyone is like, wow, these plates are so beautiful. You're not going to take the approach on social media to be like, hey, look at how pretty these plates are. No, because people are tired of seeing how, I don't want to buy your plates. So you take the approach of let's share recipes. Let's like share some beautiful recipes that we can like all make together. This is like an incredible Indian dish that we are going to create, and we're going to serve it on this plate. And it's not about the plate, it's about the recipe, and it's about how to cook it, and it's about, bringing people together and sharing a meal. And when you start seeing enough of it, then you're automatically, you don't even think about it. You're like, oh, wow, these are really nice plates. I wonder, where are they coming from? How do I learn more about them? So that's where the shift is really happening right now. And I think a lot of social media managers, a lot of people who work in social are trying to like completely shift from selling to adding value. So that's a huge point of just like, how do we bring something to someone else's life that's going to make their life easier without saying, buy this, it'll make your life easier.
I would just add that the collaboration part, think about this as showcasing a business or maybe a restaurant that does use your plates and showcasing their business and doing that as a
Absolutely.
collaboration. I think we've gotten so far out into the extremes of being soloists. And I'm
Definitely.
self-made and it's about me, myself, and I. Hey, and enough about me. What do you think about me? You know, everything revolves around that individual where we have to start incorporating collaboration. We have to start incorporating the us and the we as opposed to the I and the me. I think that's
Yeah,
super important. Social media is such a great tool to showcase other people. And
it
like I said,
is.
also
Yeah,
into contributing, being part of the narrative of somebody else's posts. You know, and also
absolutely.
think about it, social media is a great way to also poll people, find out what kind of topics they would like to cover, what's their feedback on what you just said. By the way, please always provide feedback on all my videos, and please let me know what other kind of topics you would like for me to cover, because again, it's not about me, it's about my contribution into your life and how can I contribute to your happiness, contribute to your well-being and to your success. Think that's very
Totally. I
important.
love
So
that.
what would you say to a business owner right now that hasn't really embraced social media because they're tired of seeing people posting what coffee they're drinking this morning?
Yeah. I would say I totally get it. First and foremost, you know, that's a super fair feeling to have. But you know, what I like to tell my clients who are very apprehensive to social is you don't have to, you know, it's not a life or death sentence here. Like if you don't do social, you're not your business is not totally screwed. There's like you're still going to have success, of course, but there's no reason to, you know, not try something new. There's no reason to not try to increase your brand awareness, try to increase the in community online. There's no reason that you can't at least just give it a trial run. And that's what I like to say. I like to say like a 3-month trial period is like a really great way to see if something is going to work or not. And there's millions of different ways to approach social. But I think it's and I think that there are some businesses more so than others that will do better, do worse, whatever on social. But I think if you're a business owner and you're, you know, trying to figure out if this is something you want to do, if this is something you want to try out for the first time, it's definitely worth a shot, I think,
Yeah,
because
I
I've seen a
agree.
lot of success with
And to your point,
businesses.
the fact that there's so many different ways to do this, guys, this is another reason why to hire a social manager. I think both for the time management part of it, for the content part of it, and also something that maybe we haven't thought about, which is a manager can keep you in your lane, so to speak, which is to give you feedback of whether this makes sense or not. Because you might think, well, me posting this makes a lot of sense because you're not seeing it from a specialist point of view, where the social manager will say, I think maybe we should do something a little bit different, and here's why, just to give you a different perspective. Now, when it comes to posting, how often and when do you think is the best interval and best times to post?
Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest thing with social is just being consistent. So if being consistent looks like just posting once a week, then that's okay. You know, post once every single week. Um, and I always say like ideally just if we're starting off like 3 posts a week is a really great like middle ground. There are some brands that are posting 5 times a day. And I think that that's a lot and I think is really unnecessary. But like 3 to 4 times on average is a really healthy like post amount, and then consistently posting 3 to 4 times a week. If we're talking on Instagram, you know, reposting things to your stories, interacting with your community via Instagram stories, whether it's a poll or a question. Um, and then in terms of a time frame, that's all very it's changed throughout the years, but it Instagram Meta specifically has a really great analytics dashboard that will let you know when your followers are the most active, and it's really easy to access. So you can take a look at that as to when, might be a really good time to post more so than others. And every day kind of differs. It really just depends. But that's what I normally trust to use when I'm deciding on what time to post for certain clients.
Look at your metrics and then also be consistent
Yeah.
about your posts. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And like you said, I mean, this is not a life or death situation. By the way, these are first world problems to have, right?
Yes.
Nobody's dying. You're not going to become homeless or anything like that. So I think
No.
to your point, just be consistent about it and don't overpressure yourself. This isn't a life or death situation. Make it fun. I always treat it as just something fun. Now, what are your thoughts between posting static information versus video?
Yeah. I think it really depends on the client and like what the service or product is. The algorithm currently pushes more short form videos. So videos that are like 30 seconds to a minute and a half. And those will just be pushed out a little bit more into the algorithm. But if you're somebody, there's a really popular psychologist on Instagram. Her at is like the holistic psychologist, and she constantly posts carousel images, and they're just like texts, like short texts of like tips and tricks you can use like to help deal with trauma or whatever somebody might be going through.
Holistic psychologist.
The holistic psychologist, yeah, on Instagram.
All right, well, check that out so you can get an idea of how she's posting.
Yeah, so it really, I mean, it just kind of depends, and a lot of that does just come down to like trial and error, seeing what your community, what your followers engage with. But like generally right now, it's short form content that is being pushed.
I think to your point here too, thank you for mentioning the holistic psychologist, because another thing too that's important is go look at other people's content and see which one jives with you, which one's more conducive to your personality, because you might get a little bit of ideas of how they're doing it based on the same type of personality that you have. Just some ideas, right? So go look at a bunch of content and then kind of distill it down to a few of the ones that you really like and kind of emulate some of the stuff that they're doing. And like you said, Kayla, this is trial and error. Nobody has 100% figured this thing out. It's still a work in progress, right? Because it's a gigantic social experiment if you think about it. I mean, this is huge. Yeah. This has changed the world. It literally has. Right? I mean, look at the whole college movement that's going on right now, the protesting. My gosh, in 2 seconds, this thing became viral all over the world, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas in the past, you guys probably don't remember, but people were actually writing letters to one another that used to take 2-3 days for them to get it. Now it's instant. Everything's instant, which has created a culture of instant gratification. But go look at other people's content. Really look at what are the things that resonate with you. Like Kayla said, be consistent. Treat this as a game. Have fun with it. It's not that.
Yeah. I used to have a manager that would say it's PR, not the ER. It's like, it's not that serious. It really,
I love that. Really I'm gonna borrow that. Whoever created that, whoever your manager was, it's PR, not ER. That's so good.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I think the biggest takeaway is definitely have fun with it. Just try different stuff out. It's really not that serious. And at the end of the day, like it is about what you want to get across to your community and like how you want to shape your brand, shape your business. So it should be a fun thing to do.
100%. So on that note, please reach out to Kaylin, have a conversation with her. She's going to give you some really great ideas on what to do, how to say it, and how to curate it based on your personality and the messaging that you want to put out there. So the best way to reach out for her, you see her email address, pretty catchy, right? Just Kaylin, CAELIN, social @gmail.com. So thank you so much again, Kaylin, and let's do this again. This was fun.
Yes, thank you so much.
All right, well, you have a great day.
You too.
Bye-bye.